I will answer this in a way that maybe can shock you, but when I listen, everyone says you need to work hard, you have to have talent, you have to give your best every day, and that will help you to reach the professional level. This is a lie. Honestly, this is a lie. There are two key parameters that you have to have: networking and have an agent. Simple as that. Okay, we can say, we have to have talent, you have to work. Yeah, but that everyone, they say that everyone do that. Okay, and everyone can do that. And you work hard. Okay, but are you working correctly? And even if you work, you know how many players I know that are hard workers and never reach the professional level? I can give you an example from players from my hometown. One I coach, the other no. One that I coach was very talented, plays from the same position, very talented, way better player. This one than this one. This was Holder. This one never reached professional level. This one reached the professional level. Why? Because networking. Here, find an agent. He was not a top player. He was professional most of the time. I don't know, more than 10 years on the second division of Portugal. It was a short period of time that he went to Africa. That it was the time that I think he won more money. But in talent-wise and working, this player that I coached was way better. And this, the maximum that he reached, was the third tier of Portugal. That is not a professional one. And I can give you another example. For example, in Netherlands, I know the reality of PSV Eindhoven. If you are a young player, 15, 16, 13, doesn't matter, you only can make tests on PSV if he's a scout from the club that suggests you to go there, or if you have an agent. If you don't have, you don't go make tests. And this is a thing that when parents don't know what to do, everyone tells you the same thing. It's a lie. The most important thing is having network, and in this case, an agent. I will explain you one thing. Or you are a networking that is very good, and you know the right people, you know a owner from a club, you know a coach from a club, and they give you the opportunity to make tests on the club, or you have to have an agent. The top clubs in the world, like Benfica, Porto, Cities, United, these kind of the clubs, they have scouts, okay, and they can make their researches. But I know how Porto was working 20 years ago because I had a friend that was a scout from Porto. But things change now. And why things change now? Because who is the powerful in scouting in this moment on soccer? Agents. You have clubs, professional clubs, but in a lower level, like my hometown club, that is professional in the first division of Portugal. They don't have scouts to find players. When they need a player, an example, they need a striker. They have 3, 4 agents, and they go to the agents. We need a striker with this profile, and they send them the player that they have. And after a person or two, I don't know, check the players. Okay, we want that, and they will negotiate and see by the price, by the value of the market, by the negotiations, which player they can bring. But they don't make the research; they go directly to the agent. So if you want to reach a professional level, or if you want that your son or daughter reach the professional level, you have to have an agent. If you don't have, you don't enter. And I can talk by myself. Every place that I pass and I was a coach, I achieve results. And a lot of times I overachieve results. And by myself, I was thinking, okay, I have to focus on my results. My results on the pitch will bring me opportunity. That didn't happen. That didn't happen. And 5 years ago, 6 years ago in 2020, I knew a person that now is my mentor. And the first thing that he told me is career management. You have to have network. You need to let the clubs, the director of the clubs, you have to make connection for them to know your job. And the reality is that I start to doing that. And I start to have direct contacts with the sports director. I have meetings with 3. And what I discover when I have meetings with 3, I didn't have value on the market. You know why? Because I didn't have an agent. I show them my results, I show them my way of work, and even like that, I didn't have value. Why? Because I didn't have an agent. So I have to work to try to find an agent. I find an agent, and beginning of this year, and now I'm trying with an agent to have more value on the market. And for a soccer player, is the same thing. So there are things that are more important than the performance on the pitch. Of course, if your son or daughter are a big talent, they will have maybe 20 agents want to work with them. But this is are exceptions again. Most of the players don't have that talent. They don't distinguish themselves by talent. They work hard, and what the thing that distinguishes them? That is the thing. Is the network, is having an agent, and this is the thing. You cannot only perform on the pitch. You cannot only focus working hard, having privates, individual analysis, etc., etc. If you only focus on the pitch, most of the time you will not reach a professional level. You have to do the work outside the pitch. And when I say outside the pitch, a lot of people think that is nutrition, recovery. You need to do that also. But this is not the most important at the moment that you are developing to reach a pro. You need to make the work of networking. You need to make the work to find an agent. And like that, with the performance of the player on the pitch, you will be closer to be a professional player. And nobody tell you that because they don't have interest in knowing that. People don't want to talk about that. And even myself as a coach, I did that mistake because if I knew that sooner than now, maybe I was already on a big level, and I believe that in the future I will be. But this is the message that I want to pass. You need to understand how to make contacts, where to make contacts, find an agent. And sometimes parents, first, they are not aware of that. Second, they don't know how to do it. And because of that, I say that not only the individual analysis that I do with your kids, that is important for him to grow as a player inside the pitch. But to reach professional, you have to make the mentoring. You have to make the mentoring. If you put both together, individual analysis with mentoring, the probability that your son or daughter will reach the professional level, it's very high because I have already proved, I already helped players sign professional contracts.